Hello, and welcome to another spiritual learning video. Today we're going over an ancient Persian religion that's about 4,000 years old. Arguably the world's first monotheistic faith, it's one of the oldest religions still in existence. Zoroastrianism was the state religion of three Persian dynasties until the Muslim conquest of Persia in the 7th century AD. Zoroastrian refugees called Parsis escaped Muslim persecution in Iran by immigrating to India. This religion now has an estimated 100 to 200,000 worshippers worldwide and is practiced today as a minority religion in parts of Iran and India. The prophet Zoroaster is regarded as the founder of Zoroastrianism. Most of what is known of the prophet comes from the Avesta, a collection of Zoroastrian religious scriptures. It's unclear exactly when Zoroaster may have lived. Some scholars believe he was a contemporary of Cyrus the Great, a king of the Persian Empire in the 6th century BC, though the archaeological evidence points to an earlier date, sometime between 1500 and 1200 BC. Zoroaster is thought to have been born in what is now northeastern Iran or southwestern Afghanistan. He may have lived in a tribe that followed an ancient religion with many gods. This religion was likely similar to the early forms of Hinduism. According to the Zoroastrian tradition, Zoroaster had a divine vision of a supreme being while partaking in a pagan purification rite at age 30. Zoroaster then began teaching followers to worship a single god called Ahura Mazda. In the 1990s, Russian archaeologists found a fire temple that dates back to the 2nd millennium BC, making this the earliest site associated with Zoroastrianism. The beliefs of Zoroastrianism were spread across Asia via the Silk Road, a network of trading routes that spread from China to the Middle East and into Europe. Some scholars say the tenets of Zoroastrianism helped to shape the major Abrahamic religions, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, through the influence of the Persian Empire. Zoroastrian concepts, including the idea of a single god, heaven, hell, and the day of judgment, may have been first introduced to the Jewish community of Babylonia, where people from the kingdom of Judah had been living in captivity for decades. The Faravahar is an ancient symbol of the Zoroastrian faith. It depicts a bearded man with one hand reaching forward. He stands above a pair of wings that are outstretched from a circle representing eternity. Fire is another important symbol. It represents light, warmth, and has purifying powers. Fire, along with water, are also seen as symbols of purity in the Zoroastrian religion. Paris's places of worship are sometimes called fire temples. Each fire temple contains an altar with an internal flame that burns continuously and is never extinguished. According to legend, three ancient Zoroastrian fire temples, known as the Great Fires, were said to have come directly from the Zoroastrian god Ahura Mazda at the beginning of time. Zoroastrians gave their dead sky burials. They built circular, flat-topped towers called drachmas, or towers of silence. Their corpses were exposed to the elements and local vultures until their bones were picked, cleaned, and bleached. Then they were collected and placed in lime pits. These drachmas, or towers of silence, have been illegal in Iran since the 1970s. Many Zoroastrians today bury their dead beneath concrete slabs. Although some Parises in India still practice sky burials, There's a drachma, or a tower of silence, that remains in operation near Mumbai, India. British musician Freddie Mercury, a lead singer for the rock band Queen, was one of Paris descent. Mercury, who practiced Zoroastrianism, died in 1991, and his London funeral was performed by a Zoroastrian priest. Zoroastrian god Ahura Mazda served as the namesake for the Japanese automaker Mazda Motor Corporations. The company hoped that the association with the god of light would brighten the image on their first vehicles. Among the world's present day religions, Zoroastrianism, founded more than 4,000 years ago, is one of the most ancient and historically influential. Yet, even though its parishes maintain vibrant communities on four continents, they acknowledge their numbers are dauntingly small, perhaps only 125,000 worldwide. At its core, Zoroastrianism emphasizes a never ending battle between good and evil, a contest between its religion's god, Ahura Mazda, and an evil spirit, Ahriman. Believers have the freedom to make good or bad choices. They were exhorted by Zoroaster to think good thoughts, say good words, and do good deeds. You have these ideals that have fundamentally shaped Western society: fighting the good fight, a purpose of existing to do good, to make the world flourish, to work together, to respect and love each other. That all goes back to Zoroaster. The Nowruz holiday, which incorporates ancient Zoroastrian traditions and marks the Persian New Year, remains a major event on the Iranian calendar. It is widely celebrated on or around March 21st in other religions that once were part of the Persian Empire. For Zoroastrians who left Iran and settled in India or eventually in more distant regions, their communities became renowned for producing entrepreneurs and philanthropists. Becoming wealthy was encouraged within the faith, but with the proviso that riches should be used to help others. Parishes practice a variety of rituals and ceremonies, including prayers. They pray facing a light source such as the sun or fire multiple times a day. Their prayers are primarily celebrating their God and his good essence. Zoroastrians emphasize purification in their rituals, and water is also considered a sacred element. Zoroastrians also believe fire is a central symbol of purity. Parishes tend sacred fires in fire temples and believe that God is physically present in the fire. The Navjot ceremony welcomes new parishes into the faith, and it's traditionally performed when the person's a child or a preteen. They also believe in charitable givings, especially for medicine and education. The festival of Navroz, which is the Persians' New Year, is a festival that marks the arrival of spring and is based on the solar calendar's vernal equinox. Parishes also make pilgrimages to shrines and temples. All young parishes must be initiated when they reach the age of 7 in India or 10 in Persia. There are 3 types of purification in order to increase importance. The chief ceremony, the yasna, essentially a sacrifice of sacred liquor, is celebrated before the sacred fire with a recitation of large parts of the Avesta. There are also offerings of bread, milk, and formerly of meat or animal fat. The sacred fire must be kept burning continually and has to be fed at least 5 times a day. Prayers are also recited 5 times a day. The founding of the new fire involves a very elaborate ceremony. There are also rites for purification and regeneration of a fire. Thank you so much for joining us for another spiritual learning video. If you like this content, please check out our playlist Spiritual Learning for more. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we have new content. We'll see you again next week.